I can add like terms. So we are adding together, whether they're positive or negative, we're still doing adding. Like meaning that they are similar. And terms are these pieces that are separated by pluses or minuses. They could have a number, a variable, they could have an exponent. In this first one, we have 2 terms. On the second one, we have 3 terms separated by plus signs. Down here on the fourth one, we've got 4 terms. And we're going to add the ones that are like terms, meaning that they have the same letter. So like on problem 1 here, 3x's and 7x's. They are both x's, so I can just put them together and say 3x's and 7 more x's make a total of 10 x's. The variable doesn't change, just the coefficient in the front, how many we had. We had 3x's, 7x's, now we've got 10 of those same thing, 10 x's. Okay, it doesn't have to be just 2. In this case, we have 3 things that are being combined together. We've got a 10x being added to a 9x, making 19 so far, and another 5x. That is going to make a total of 24 x's. If you see an x with no number in front of it, I know that there is 1 there because there is 1 written. So there is always an invisible little 1 there if there's nothing else written. So this one is 11 x's plus 1 more x, so that is going to make 12 x's. If we have more than 1 letter, we're only going to put the like ones together. So I'm going to take the 19x, and I'm going to take the 3x, and I'm going to put those together, and that would make 22 x's. And then I'm going to notice the 8y and the 2y's. So 8y's and 2y's are going to make 10y's. I need something to separate these, so I'm going to use whatever sign they happen to be in. This is positive, so I'm going to use the positive to separate them. My final answer combined is 22 x's and 10 y's. You'll notice my strategy here of circling the one letter, squaring the next letter. If there was another one, I'd triangle it, and so on, just so I can match them. But I do want to grab that sign. You'll notice that I was very careful to include that sign in there in case it does happen to be different. On this next question, we've got 2 terms here inside parentheses, plus 2 terms inside parentheses. Now, we can't combine the 2 that are in the parentheses because an x and a y are not the same. So these 2 cannot be added. But I could add this 7x and this 2x together. So 7x's and 2x's will combine to make 9x's. I've got a 3y and this y with nothing on it, but I'm going to remember that there's 1 if I can see it here. So 3y's plus another y is going to make 4y's. I need something to separate this, so I will use the positive as a plus sign in between there. On question 6, we have 2 terms that have x's, and then we have 2 terms without, and those are considered like. So first, let's put our x's together. The 8x and the 2x are going to make 10 x's, and this minus 7 and this plus 3 are considered like terms. Now, when I add these, I'm going to notice the signs are different. So in a case like this, when the signs are different, I'm going to subtract and keep the sign larger. And I'm just going to use that larger sign as the sign in between. I'm going to say 10x minus 4 because that turned out to be a negative 4 when I subtracted them. Okay, looking for ones that match. I have a 17a and I've got a 9a. 17a's plus 9a's is going to make 26a's. I'm just going to use capital because I don't want to confuse you thinking that my a is a 9. Here I have a 6b. Now there's nothing else. So it's not going to change, but it can't disappear either. So I'm going to write plus 6b. And then I've got a 7c and a negative 3c. So I'm going to do my sign rules here. 7 and a negative 3 signs are different. I'm going to subtract, keep the sign larger, which is the 4. I'm going to keep the variable, and it is a positive, so I'm just going to put a plus sign in between there as my mean of separating the b and the 4. Okay, I've got a 20m, and I'm looking for more, so I've got this negative 6m. A 20 and a negative 6m are going to combine to make 14m's. My 13n and my 5n are going to combine to make 18n. And I need a sign to separate that, so I will use the positive. I have an 8x and a 3x. Those are going to combine to make 11x's. I've got a 9y and a y. So remember, there's one here. Even if you don't see a number, we know there's one there. So 9 plus 1 is 10 y's. I'm going to use my sign to separate it. A negative 4z and a plus 10z. Now you might say this says subtract 4z, and a subtraction and a negative sign are really the same. So I'm going to read it as negative 4z and a positive 10z. They are different, so I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the larger, which is a positive, and I'm going to keep my variable on there. Okay, looking at our last one here, we go through and we make sure that we get all the x's, even if there happens to be more than 2, which is not what we've been used to. Here's 3 of them. So this gives us a total of 18 x's. Combining my y's together, I've got a 3y and a 2y is going to make 5y's. And then over here, I have a plus 11z. It has nothing to add to, but it can't disappear, so it's still going to stay a plus 11z.